Welcome in, everyone, to the TELUS Esports Series 2, week number 3 of the Canadian competition. I'm Vodable, and joining me yet again is Dude with a Nose, or Trevor. Trevor, how does it feel? We're so close to the finish line to those playoffs next weekend.
Almost there, and I am excited. I mean, so far I've been pretty surprised and pretty happy with the level of play we've seen. Mind you, we have been missing out on some of the lower leagues or lower division games, which we'll finally get a chance to see today.
It's going to be some great competition. We have the elite competition that's out there, Champ 1 to SSL. We have the beginners that are kind of getting up there in ranks as best as they can, bronze to, say, silver or gold, and doing the best that they can through the competition that's out there. We've seen mainly kind of the middle of the pack up to this point, Trevor, so this is going to be some stellar matches regardless of how they go today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, like you mentioned, 2 elite level games. So SSL, top rank in the game, to Champ 1. That is going to be absolutely phenomenal gameplay in terms of the mechanics, just in terms of the play style, rotations, general game sense. Even the boost usage, something as minute and glossed over like that, is going to be way more optimized. I'm very excited to see it.
Well, before we start talking more about the format, the divisions, the dates of the competition, and even those playoffs specifically, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge that our participants and our viewers live and work across many territories and treaties within North America, and we are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are with us today, those who have gone before us, and the youth that inspire us. We've provided a link in the chat for you to take a look and see what territories and treaty areas you reside in, which is native-land.ca. TELUS Esports Series 2 is proudly presented by Nanoleaf, that's what those panels are, who is changing the world with the most innovative smart home solutions that transform ordinary experiences to extraordinary ones. Also, a big thank you to all of our sponsors, HyperX and GameCon Canada, providing the TELUS Esports Series with incredible prizing, $30,000 total across the 4 different divisions that are out there. Big shout out to them for that, and rewards for the top competitors of the league itself. For Alberta and British Columbia residents only, TELUS has a special partnership with Xbox. If anyone who purchases the Optic TV package, you can also add Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which is pretty cool, which allows you to access 100 plus high quality games plus EA Play and Xbox Live Gold. A lot of good goodies there to bundle and save as you can with the TELUS Optics TV package. Also, within partnering with Xbox, you can save with everything all together in one bill: internet, TV, and gaming. And it's definitely the best deal in gaming. I've had it since it came out. It's pretty great. It is also the most affordable way to get streaming and TV in one plan, where you can customize your entertainment packages based on your preferences. So this includes Netflix, Crave, movies, HBO, and more. A lot of great options there. So TELUS Optic TV offers hundreds of digital channels, including in HD, radio stations, movies, multicultural channels, and more. And you can find out more information in the chat there as well. A lot of great stuff there between Optics TV and the Xbox partnership for Game Pass. But with all that out of the way, Trevor, let's talk about these divisions. So we talked a little bit about the Elite Division, which we're seeing 2 matches. What can we really expect from the other divisions for those who might be tuning in for the first time this week?
Yep, so there are 4 divisions in the TELUS Esports Series 2. Starting off, we have the Beginner Division, which is Silver and below. We have the Intermediate Division, which is Plat and below. Advanced Division, which is Diamond and below. And then way up at the top, Elite Division is Supersonic Legend and below, and that is the top rank in the game, as I mentioned. So we're getting everybody involved, and we're making sure that the rank disparity within these divisions isn't too great. You know, as long as you sign up for the division that's right for you, you have a pretty good shot at taking home the prizes. Speaking of which, the Beginner Division, you have $600 in prizing. Intermediate Division, $2,250. Nice little jump up there. Advanced Division, up to $6,750 in prizing. And the Elite Division, oh my goodness, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
$21,000 in prizing. That is ridiculous.
That's crazy.
That's
so
nice.
much on the line for these teams, and only the top 16 out of each of those divisions make it to the playoffs for their specific league. So top 16 out of Elite make it into those playoffs happening on the 17th and the 18th. We'll have a lot of great broadcast action there after our last week of competition next Wednesday. But let's talk about the competition we have ahead of us right now. It is going to be Team Undefined versus Team Winnable. Team Undefined from Ontario, our first Ontario representatives on the stream itself for the TELUS Esports Series 2. And Winnable coming out from Quebec. Quebec's had a strong force of teams that have wanted to be streamed up to this point as well. And Winnable fourth in their specific pool, and Undefined sixth. So based on usually these leagues, they each have 4 different pools that are in them. So you want to get top 4 in your pool to guarantee a spot in the actual league final. So this is going to be some great competition for both of these teams to see who comes out on top, because it's that close. I believe it's like 5 wins to 4 wins from what we've seen from both of these two teams. Actually, no, they're both. One's Winnable has 4, Undefined has 3, but it's just based on some of the losses that have come out here and the amount of games that they have played. So they can catch up, talking about Undefined, to pass Winnable if they win this series.
Yeah, Undefined, as you mentioned, they are 3-1. They are, I guess, playing from behind on the scoreboard, but both teams, in terms of goal differential, you know, how many goals they get versus how many goals they've let in, they're both +5. So they're both doing pretty well in their games, you know? I mean, these are best of 3s. You don't have too many chances to build up a ridiculous lead. So +5 in terms of your plus loss across 4 or 5 games, that's not bad.
It's going to be pretty good. I mean, seeing +5, that makes you think, okay, it's Champ 1 to SSL. That's kind of a big gap if you aren't familiar with the ranks in Rocket League specifically. So they're probably closer to the SSL rank. Played maybe some of those teams that are lower in the category of rankings there for the Elite League itself. But talking about one of these two teams, on Undefined from Ontario, Ra is one of the players from St. Clair College Academy. So shout out to them. We got some collegiate Rocket League representation happening on Undefined. So of course, that's what I'm going to be biased towards, them maybe getting the victory here. Also from my hometown, or where I grew up in Ontario. So, you know, gotta represent where we can, but it's okay. Winnable, I mean, they have that name for a reason, Trevor. So I think they might continue with what we've seen before from them based on those stats.
Yeah, I mean, it is. So the thing about the Elite Division is that because it's up at that top division, there is a bit of a wider range from Supersonic Legends to Champ 1 compared to the other divisions where it's just a 2 rank disparity. So we could see a lot more disparity than in between these teams in the division. So it's kind of hard to know whether Undefined has gone up against these Champ 1 teams or whether they're going up against the Supersonic Legend teams. So ultimately, we still, I mean, we've been looking at the numbers. There's still a lot of question marks going into this series. I mean, there's only so much you can pull from the stats. I am more than excited to get this match started. Unfortunately, still waiting for the players to get in. I believe
they're here. I think they're all here. We just need them to take the field. So they're good to go. They're good to get into the game itself, and we are good to launch into game 1. Our first time taking a look at the Elite League of the TELUS Esports Series 2. On the blue side, as I was mentioning before, Undefined. We got some Supersonic Legend tournament winners, so definitely know what ranks those fellas are. And on the side of Winnable, they are looking pretty solid. They got some Grand Champ tags, a Dunk Master from Take as well on the orange half. So this will be some interesting competition between these two. Undefined definitely have some solid rank titles, but that doesn't matter whatsoever for the defense here, because Zico is going to take this one forward.
Undefined off to a phenomenal start. It has just been touch after touch after touch, keeping it away from the defense and laying on the aggression for 20 seconds straight. It was just scoring chance after scoring chance, and we might get another here. Zykel off the back wall with a double touch, and Ramen nearly finding it, and the pressure just mounts more and more.
I'm very familiar with Ramen now. I'm thinking of, I've seen them across the collegiate Rocket League for some time. They've played in some decent bubble tournaments here and there and done fairly well for themselves. So definitely keep an eye out for them throughout the rest of the competition leading up to those finals next weekend. But Zykel doing their best to set up their teammates for success. Ramen, I spoke about them before. They're doing pretty well for themselves to keep the momentum going forward on offense. Not enough for them to secure that second goal, because you can tell the defense has figured out the flight path of their opponents. Maybe not enough though after that dunk right underneath the crossbar.
Sheesh, the pace of this double tap. Ramen saw the opportunity to steal that ball and just slammed that into the backboard and followed it the entire way. A phenomenal angle to get that onto the crossbar and in. This has been an outstanding showing in the first minute of play.
Crazy to see the way things have turned up here for Unrefined. Every time I feel like we get a team that has a name like this, they don't live up to it whatsoever, Trevor. Okay. We almost saw something go awry there, but luckily for the defense, it worked out for a little bit, but not long enough as Ramen saves the day for their team on offense, and that was just a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yeah, that demo from Take nearly leading to an own goal. We were a little worried that we were going to see that on the broadcast. Fortunately, save comes through, but unfortunately, just goes right back into the attacker's car and into the back of the net. Ramen now trying to take it forward. Magic just playing patient. So far, Winnable hasn't showed too much threat in terms of their mechanics, whether it's air dribbling or just general pace of play. So Undefined is taking a little bit of a more passive approach to the game. They're waiting for Winnable to slam the ball downfield and eventually lose control of it. So they're just playing passive, waiting for the ball to come to them, and it allows them to set up touches like this. Cycle to the back wall, centering it. Magic unable to find an angle on net, but possession is maintained.
So Winnable was just finishing up a ranked match to try and warm up before we got into this game here, and I feel like maybe it wasn't the warm-up they were expecting, because right now they are having to go back to the drawing board when it comes to figuring out exactly what's necessary for them to get that first goal. We saw some good initiative there for just a moment. Even then, it was fleeting at best. Went by the wayside, went the other direction towards their side, and they got to come back at some point here.
And these rotations and this passing from Undefined is absolutely incredible. They are finding each other at ridiculous angles, and they're always in an open spot. Ramen here coming in at a perfect moment to follow up that 50-50. Zykel covering the back wall, and Magic almost ready for that back wall touch. And just the follow-ups from one another is absolutely seamless right now.
Very solid cohesion that we are witnessing on the side of Undefined, and they are making sure that, again, as I mentioned before, Undefined, well, they are defining themselves as best as possible in this first game as potential victors of the entire thing, or at least the series itself. Looking pretty solid. It's not just Ramen and Zykel doing their best to keep the momentum going. Magic is also supporting them as best as they can from what we are witnessing so far in the first half of this game. Magic, just the one shot on their name, but looking at their tag as well, they're CRO Fall 2021 Elite, so they've been around the scene for some time themselves.
Yeah, they're not struggling too much in this game. I don't think any of Undefined are having too much of an issue so far, and I've been trying to keep an eye out for what Winnable can do better, and it just seems like they're playing pretty individually, and whenever they get a ball, it's not going to a teammate, it's not being kept control of, it's just a singular touch to safety without too much forethought into what comes next. So I want to see a little more, again, to say the same word, forethought and intention behind these touches.
I mean, think of that as kind of one of the main difference makers, not just mechanics, between, say, Grand Champ and SSL from what you're witnessing right now on the field. The pace of play is a lot faster for the side of Undefined, and Winnable, they've won a lot of their matches so far and done pretty well for themselves, but they haven't had to face off against this SSL roster of Undefined, and we're witnessing now what the difference is between these two ranks in the elite category.
Yeah, as we mentioned coming into this, Winnable is 4-1 in their pool, and Undefined is 3-1. So, I mean, they're both doing pretty well for themselves, but as we can see, this skill disparity so far, at least in game one, I'm not writing it off for Winnable yet, but so far it's looking like two completely different teams. Undefined has just incredible passing, really dangerous, threatening touches, excuse me, that causes the defense to panic, double commit, and dump all their boost, and that allows Undefined to just keep up the offense cycle after cycle after cycle. And Winnable is just struggling to get a clear, and when they do, it's just that it's a clear downfield. They get whatever boost they can, but it's not a sustained offense. They're just coming right back onto defense.
Well, let's see what Winnable can do here. They were stuck on defense for the majority of it. Whenever they did get on offense, they tried to center. It did not quite work out well enough for themselves, to the fact of them not getting a single shot that entire game. So game 2, we'll see if they can bounce back and do what is necessary for them to make this a winnable series, because right now that does not seem to be the case, Trevor.
No, not the start you want if you want to live up to your namesake as Winnable. But you know, it wasn't completely disastrous. We've seen bigger swings in series, and
truly
both teams are ready to get things underway now and get game 2 started. 5 minutes back on the clock. Kickoff went in the favor of Winnable.
Oh, that was very close too. That was a winnable kickoff, and there we go. They win the 50-50. We were waiting for them to get their first shot. That's all they needed to take one, and they get a goal as well.
Yeah, Magic. I like the idea of taking control and dribbling that ball out of your own end, but unfortunately they got a little bit antsy when that challenge came through. Instead of flipping into that ball, I just want to see them jump, make sure their car is entirely behind it, and minimize any risky 50-50 or any risky bounce that can come after that challenge.
Death Punch, we haven't mentioned them too much in the previous game, trying to set themselves up for success on offense. Had a long ball to the left side, but not really anyone on their team ready to follow it up. And as you mentioned before in the previous game, Trevor, it seemed like a lot of individual efforts. We saw a great team effort off of that kickoff, so that is exactly what they need for success in this game, but also to hold on to this lead, hopefully extend it, because I feel like they're going to need that after the 3-0 finish that we saw in game number 1. Oh, okay.
We are seeing a much better game plan coming out from Winnable, but I don't disagree with you. They are going to need more than a 1-goal lead, which might disappear. Okay, never mind. They're in the clear for the moment. But yeah, we're gonna need to see way more than a 1-goal lead if I'm gonna be confident in Winnable holding on to this victory.
Oh, that would have been nice. They could have got that past Ramen, but
demo,
unfortunately, the delivery was making it stop at the end of the road, as we saw there. Not going to convert into a goal the other way on the counterattack, but Wilfred, looking pretty solid off the backboard, had to force the defender up, and there was a great opportunity there for Take to take the initiative on offense, get that second goal, make it so that they have an unbreakable lead, at least for some time, in game number 2. Again, we still have not witnessed a game 3 on the broadcast thus far. We have been in the intermediate and advanced leagues up to this point, so we're hoping one of these elite matches that we have tonight, not this one, the next one, that'll happen in 2 series time, will deliver us that fateful 3rd game. But Magic's trying to make that not a possibility. A great setup off the backboard. Ramen in it to the corner, no boost, a good setup. Not going to happen just yet, but there's nobody home.
Nobody there to shoot that either. Magic in the right place, but unable to find the angle. This is looking a lot more like the... Oh my goodness. Wow. Pre-flip gang?
Look back at the tape on that one.
Zyko with the pre-flip.
Oh, no, yeah.
It wasn't.
Wow.
Just a fantastic angle. Almost.
I feel like if they were a few seconds earlier, that would have been like counted as a pre-flip, but we're not gonna say it was just yet. It was a good setup called out by their teammates, and they are just quick enough on it to come up for that finish. Zyko, they got the first goal in the previous game, got the first one here as well. It has that consistency for their team, potentially put them on top. Wow. And as we say that, Magic gets their first goal of the series.
I was watching this play develop and thinking, hey, that's a great pinch by Zyko, and then they steal the boost and go for a bump, and that just got completely eclipsed by that shot from Magic. What an incredible angle. Not in a million years do I think that's going in.
Just taking a look at the shots for a second too, we didn't see a single one out of Winnable in the previous game. Now they already have 5, and Undefined have 2 goals out of their 5 shots up to this point. Looking pretty solid for themselves, taking their battles when they know that it is winnable, in fact. And as I say that, Magic wins that challenge. Can't get it past the second defender. They got 2 teammates backing them up. Even though they go into the net, the ball is not too far behind.
Double commit coming through, but the third grabs control of the ball on Winnable. 50-50 in the corner. And a big demo from Magic to completely relinquish any chance of offense that Winnable had. A couple of missed passes coming through, but it's chaotic enough to nearly get another goal. Wilfred, he's been looking much better in this game, much quicker to challenges. An unfortunate touch by Death Punch, however, takes screaming across the goal line, bails them out.
Oh, there we go. Death Punch was waiting for their moment to strike. That is, I believe, their second shot coming out. Actually, no, it's their first shot, first goal from Death Punch in this series. They were mainly setting up their teammates up to this point in time, but they saw the shot looming in front of the net, and they took it, tying it up 2-2.
100% accuracy from Death Punch, put it in the record books. Take on the back wall, just touching that to the side, trying to get a secondary touch. Unfortunately, doesn't find it. Ramen with a follow-up. That is a fantastic setup from Zykel. And Ramen is reading this the entire way. Even with their third demo, Ramen is just so confident in both his ability and their teammates' ability to just enact whatever they want on the field. They can get it past the first, and Ramen is confident that they can beat the defender to that ball and get the advantage in this game with only a minute left on the clock.
And that's why at this level of competition, you really have to have eyes on the back of your head. It feels like you have to have eyes on the ball, eyes on the people that are going to try and put a shot on like that. And then eventually, somehow, you manage to get a save if you are lucky enough, like we just witnessed. But even then, still down by a single goal with 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Looks like it might be down by 2 pretty soon if Ramen could get that one through.
Wilfred with a massive flick. Unfortunately, it's to no one, so they have to reset the offense. This pinch goes wildly into the corner, up in the air. Ramen off the ceiling, Wilfred off the back wall. Wilfred walking out of their own end with 100 boost, and the ball nearly getting a dunk as well. Pass into the midfield is fantastic, but unfortunately no one's there to capitalize. The clock hit 0. Ball still up in the air, however. Winnable has to keep this alive. Take with a great pinch. Wilfred has boost. The touch is a little weak, and Magic is first up. They're hitting that to the back wall. They're about to get a double touch. No, a fake comes through, and finally the ball hits the ground. Undefined take game 2 to sweep their opponents. They are now 4-1 in their pool, and Winnable knocked down a bit to 4-2.
Basically took their ranker right out from underneath them, pulled the rug and everything, and said, "This is mine. It's not winnable for you when you're facing off against us." That's exactly what we saw in that series. Very close in that second game, and nice to see a change of pace compared to the other series we have had on the broadcast so far in the 2 prior weeks of the TELUS Esports Series 2 broadcast here on Northern Arena. I mean, every time it was like very close game in game 1 and then a stomp fest in game 2. We had the opposite this time. It was decently close. I mean, 3-0 finish at this rank is still pretty respectable, I would say. It happens to the best of them. And then kept it close all the way to the finish there at the end. Could have got it tied up for OT. Just was not the case that go around, Trevor.
Yeah, it was a pretty good attempt at bringing the series back from Winnable. As you mentioned, it is hard to come back from no disrespect, a bit of a stomp in game 1, but they brought it back. As you mentioned, game 2 looked a lot closer, could have gone either way. And although you did get the loss today in this game, I do think that bodes well for you as a team if you are able to come back from a bit of a thrashing and put on a much better performance in the following games, because that is truly one of the most difficult things to ask from a team in Rocket League, especially in a best of 3 with so much pressure.
2 more goals. more than, I think it was like 7 shots compared to the previous game because they didn't have a single one. They were stuck on defense the entire time. Tons of saves, but that doesn't really matter when it's a 3-0 finish. So marketable improvement in that second game. Definitely recommend saving those replays, looking back on them, seeing what you can work on. As we talked about before, a lot of it came down to just the coordination, the foresight of knowing when to go for these passing plays and the setups and where your opponents might be waiting to interrupt those. But regardless, that was a great first look at the Elite League for the TELUS Esports Series 2. Now we start at the top. We're going down to the bottom with the Beginner League itself. Our next matchup is going to be Velociraptors from BC versus the 3 Rocketeers from Ontario. We'll be back after a few short messages, and we'll return with more TELUS Esports Series 2 action. And we are back after a short break. The short messages I said was just, we'll be right back. You know, it's very easy. That's as short as it can be, as that break was as short as we wanted to make it, so we can get into that Beginner League action here at the TELUS Esports Series 2. Again, Vaudable, Do With Nose, or Trevor. Got to give a big shout out real quick to HyperX, one of our prize sponsors that are helping provide the $30,000 total prize pool for all the teams. Again, we talked about those splits a bit earlier. We won't bore you with the numbers. You can go back, watch the VOD, and enjoy some other matches that are out there too. But before we get into the second matchup of the day, also want to get your feedback on the TELUS Esports Series 2. Your feedback is very critical and important to TELUS. The TELUS team is always focused on growing and improving, and when it comes to the TELUS Esports Series, They want to hear your feedback so they can see how to improve and bring back the league in a bigger and better way in the future. So please take a moment to complete the survey we just posted in the Twitch chat. Without any further ado, though, we got Velociraptors, we got the 3 Rocketeers, the captain of Velociraptors, Dracona. She's going to be leading the charge for this team this go around, Trevor.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this game. As you mentioned, this is in the beginner division, so it is silver and below. So it's going to be pretty interesting. A whole lot of chaos. And I feel like whichever team manages to get the ball towards the net, they're probably going to have a pretty good shot. Because Velociraptors, they are 1-1. So not a whole lot to go off of. They're pretty neutral in their in their pool so far, excuse me. 3 Rocketeers are 2-1. So again, not too many games under their belt, and their goal differential, they're sitting at a clean 0. So
okay.
However they win, whether it's a 1-goal lead or maybe even a 10-goal lead, they're losing just as close or just as badly. So it seems like maybe a little inconsistency there. If you're sitting at a goal differential of 0, it could be really difficult to kind of gauge which team's going to come out on top here. But I'm excited nonetheless.
These are basically the foundlings of Rocket League fans that are into the esports scene itself. They're bronze to silver, trying to see if they like tournaments, are interested in playing in these kind of leagues in the future, and seeing what's out there, playing with their friends. And that's great to see that they're able to be involved in this kind of competition. Most of the esports competitions that are out there are usually for, say, Grand Champ at minimum to like SSL. So having something out there for the bronze and the silvers that are out there is just great to see that they have a chance to compete again for like a decent prize pool for their rank too. I think it was what, $600 and something at the end of the competition. So a lot on the line for these teams. And I believe since we don't have as many signups for the bronze league itself, most, if not all of them, will be making it on to that specific playoff. So yeah, all of them are going to be making it to the playoffs. So they get to participate, if this is their first time, in the TELUS Esports Series 2, but also in the playoffs, and see how far they can make it and have fun with it.
Yeah, and no shame. I know we are coming off of an elite division game, which is top rank in the game, and we're headed down to beginner division, which is bronze and silver, but we all started there. It's no problem. Everybody's journey starts at the bottom, and who knows, some of these players, they get a little taste of the victory here in the beginner division. They may want to work their way up pretty quickly once they get a taste of the prizing. So I'm very excited once this game gets underway to see what we're dealing with here. I gotta tell you, Vaudable, it has been a long while since I have seen bronze and silver Rocket League.
Same.
I'm excited to see the level that it's at now, because honestly, since I've been in silver and bronze, it's been maybe 6-7 years since the game came out. The entire player base has gotten better in that time. So, a silver from half a decade ago was much worse than a silver today. So I'm pretty excited to see that difference.
Yeah, that difference, but also see some similarities, because I feel like when you just start a game like Rocket League, there's a lot of, I don't know, expectations you fall into. Like having one person be a dedicated goalie, I feel like is something a lot of people, when they're just starting out, are always like, oh, we got to have like actual set positions. But in Rocket League, it's all fluid. There's rotations and you work as a team. You don't necessarily stay stationary in one spot. But I think we're good to get into the match. I believe we have everyone in the lobby itself. No one's joined their games yet, but we will see them join their respective sides in just a moment. Hopefully they don't have their chat disabled here as well. But as soon as we get them on the field, we'll be getting into this game. Velociraptors in blue. And on the other side, we have the 3 Rocketeers. And again, great names, especially for this level of competition.
Oh, fantastic names. I'm quite partial to the 3 Rocketeers. But we do have a couple of players joining now. Unfortunately, only one half of the server is joining. However, still, I think we are going to get the game started because
okay, they're going to remake.
Everybody's in now. Okay. All right, we don't know.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a rocky start. We might restart. That's fine. However, what I did see was a kickoff goal, or not a kickoff goal, mind you, a kickoff touch going close to the net. That bodes well, Vaudable. That bodes very well.
It does bode very well, and I believe they're still playing in the lobby. We're going to be remaking, letting them know, but they're so excited to get into the game itself. I know when I first started playing Rocket League, I played the season mode itself, and that's all I played at the beginning, just to try and get used to some of the mechanics that are out there. I wish they would like invest more in the season mode as well, but it still looks like they haven't really read our messages just yet. They might not be familiar with the actual chat that's in the game to know exactly what's going on. And they are just focused on this practice match, we'll call it, that's happening in the background.
Yeah, some unfortunate tunnel vision going on there from the players, but once we get it all sorted, we'll restart the game and get them all back into a lobby. However, I mean, you know, not much... sorry, excuse me. Still getting over that cold from last week. Bronze and silver, first tournament, no shame. There's some hiccups along the way.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. Now, I mean, I don't know what to expect here. As we mentioned going into the game, Velociraptors sitting at 1-1, goal differential of +1, so the smallest margin. 3 Rocketeers sitting at 2-1, goal differential is 0. Just I don't even know how that is possible. Someone else has to do the math for me. But I mean, they were so little to go off of, and even just the ranks are relatively unknown factors. I mean, I have not seen bronze and silver Rocket League in a tournament environment. You know, in ranked, it's one thing. You can have one player who's maybe a little underrated for how good they are, and they can just solo carry an entire team just based on them being able to jump a little higher than their opponents. Because as you know, aerialing, bit of a... It flies under the radar as an advanced mechanic because everyone can do it in the RLCS and in other high-end tournaments. But that is a huge skill differential or kind of a skill hump to get over in the lower ranks. Once you learn how to aerial, it is a huge boost to your game, and it can carry you up to, I mean, even gold or platinum.
It really can. The way that just learning how to get off the ground and control your car well enough makes your level of competition that much higher. And being able to pull off these crazy maneuvers when a ball is coming towards your net, you don't have to just sit there waiting for it to come towards you. You can actually follow it up or hit it to the sidewall, carry it up the wall, and do something with that afterwards, even if you're not the greatest at it. It's just crazy to see the way that things have evolved since that point in time. But again, still waiting on these players to, leave their practice match, I guess we're calling it at this point in time, because they're adamant of playing this game and not answering anything. And, they're having a blast. And that's what's most important about these competitions that are out there, is that you're having fun, I feel like. Maybe this game won't count that they're playing right now, but again, they're focused, cool, calm, and collected. And that's what we'd like to see.
Unfortunately, as you mentioned, having a bit of trouble getting a hold of them. They're very focused on this game, and I do think, Vaudable, we might be going to a quick break here to get control of these players. They're having too much fun right now.
They are. No more fun. No, we're not like that. We just want to make sure that the kickoff didn't start with everyone on their respective sides. So per rules, typically with these competitions, you got to restart the matchup, the lobby itself, and actually get everyone in there at the same time, so that it's as even as possible off of that kickoff. Again, it didn't lead to anything, but we just want to have it be as fair as possible. So as you were saying, Trevor, we are going to be taking a quick break, and then after that, we'll corral all the masses of the beginner league and get back to our next series. Wait for them to finish their friendly matchup before we get into the serious competition that is this next one. Velociraptors versus 3 Rocketeers, everyone joining their respective sides. Now, we're getting into the game, the first actual one here for our first beginner league lookout in series number 2 today for week 3 of the TELUS Esports Series 2. Velociraptors, 3 Rocketeers. We got Dracona leading the charge. She's trying to do the best for her team. And in the little friendly matchup we saw kind of off the stream while we were talking and rambling a little bit there, Nose Dude, it was a 3-0 finish for Velociraptors. Do we expect to see more of that here?
I certainly hope so, but I mean, these silver and bronze games, they can be a little inconsistent. Ooh, Ziffer
no!
finding that angle, nearly going off the post and out, but they just managed to get it past 2 of them. Dracona and Hollow Dude both going for a demolition, and unfortunately they both drove past that ball, leading to an empty net. 1 goal advantage pretty early on in this game.
Well, I might have jinxed things for our beginners here on the side of the Velociraptors, so hopefully they will forgive me, at least for just a moment. They had a good warm-up, but maybe wasn't warmed up enough to prevent that from happening. We are seeing typically what you witness a lot of times in the earlier ranks is everyone just kind of going for the ball. We saw that happen a couple times in the corner there for a moment, but I am liking the pacing we were witnessing defensively from the 3 Rocketeers. But Dracona, she puts the shot in, a nice one there, set up by the enemy side of Ziffer.
Acceleron rotating back, bumps Dracona, turns their car around, and ends up putting her in a position to just drive straight into that ball and score. So a bit of a fortunate team bump going on there as they now tie up and equalize game 1. Feels like game 2 to them, but it is still only game 1. Now only 4 minutes left on the clock, and things are tied once more. Acceleron, Hollow Dude, both trying to challenge the ball right now, and Hollow Dude hits this one off to the side, boosts into the corner, and tries to get a centering chance as an unfortunate rotation out ends up colliding with their teammate in Dracona.
Coffee Cat was just looking for their moment to strike, but Dracona's doing pretty well for themselves. Acceleron, excuse me, also trying to set up the center right in front of the net, the box as best as possible. Seems to be where they're aiming for the most when it comes to those passes, and maybe that's something they've been practicing up to this point. What we saw a little bit off stream in that warm-up game that they just had. Dracona and Acceleron doing their best to keep that ball in their possession and away from their opponents on the defensive side, which is working out pretty decently for themselves and making it very difficult for the 3 Rocketeers to do anything after their opening goal.
Yeah, so far the Velociraptors do seem the most consistent. I say that as there is a triple commit of whiffs. Acceleron. Decent touch off the back wall, but it's now bouncing towards their own net. Good save by Hollow Dude, as all 3 members of Velociraptors kind of group around this ball. Bounces off the backboard, bouncing high up into the air. That is an awkward touch, especially when aerialing is so difficult, and Dracona playing patiently, waits her turn, waits for this ball to bounce down, and eventually puts it in the back of the net, just waiting on a missed touch from the defenders.
Well, the captain is leading the charge. It seems that she is the one on the top of the scoreboard, doing well for herself, and has more points than the other side as far as score is concerned combined. 2 shots, 2 goals, 248 score now, and the highest is Ziffer at 128, 1 goal, 1 shot. So really just having individual scorers, it feels like, on each side. Trippy almost was able to get one for themselves, but a little bit too high above the crossbar. Didn't have to rely on the post and the woodwork doing the work for them. Defensively, speaking of defense, there's nobody there, and that is something that just happens from time to time in this level of competition.
Yeah, Trippy tries to buy time by hitting that off the sidewall, but unfortunately, they aren't able to read the bounce, and they can't get the follow-up touch. So what ends up happening is that the ball just ends up centering in front of their own net. And that leaves 3 members from Velociraptors able to capitalize that and put it in the net. Acceleron nearly putting it in on their own. Dracona off the post. How did that not go in?
I have no idea, and I know they're going to be wanting that one back, but again, they still have a very substantial lead up to this point. Hollow Dude has a goal. Acceleron's looking for one for themselves. They've got 2 shots up to this point, and 3 Rocketeers, they just want another shot. They had one at the opening minute, got that first goal off of their only shot up to this point. And as I say that, we almost see one from Trippy, but it goes by the wayside again. 1:20 on the clock now for them to come back by 2 goals.
Trippy has had a couple of chances now where they get a shot, but unfortunately they just jump into the ball, and because they're hitting it from below and jumping into it, the ball goes soaring way high over the crossbar, and they end up losing a chance on offenses. You know, maybe in the higher ranks, it is beneficial to get the ball high off the crossbar for a follow-up, but that is just not going to happen. Hollow Dude, after a sequence of unfortunate touches, finds himself with the ball, turns around right in the circle, and puts that one home for now a 3-goal lead with only a minute left.
Speaking of 3 goals, who are we thinking is going to get the hat trick in this game, if there is one to get it? Hollow Dude has 2, Dracona has 2. Who do you think is going to be the captain, or do we have Hollow Dude, who seems to be the second man coming out here as well? And I almost called it there too. They almost got one.
I was waiting for one of them to score, and then I was going to make my prediction, but unfortunately, no such luck. I am going to have to put my money on Dracona. No! Oh, they almost had it. I would have been so smart.
That would have been 200 IQ from you, but maybe they're just trying to make it so nobody gets the hat trick this go around, unless it is going to go in less than 15 seconds now. All 3 players on the side of Velociraptors were on the side wall, and that gave Ziffer finally another opportunity for them to get a goal. Trippy was doing their best for such a long time to try and put some pressure on, but Ziffer seems to be playmaker, the one who gets the work done. And with 11 seconds, it's possible. But right now, it doesn't seem likely at the beginner stage of the competition for either team to get another goal, unless we see Hollow Dude. No goal! They saved it. Velociraptors win.
Oh my goodness. That was a ridiculous series of touches. I don't even know what to say about that. Almost an own goal, then a fantastic save on the goal line.
That was crazy.
Highlight of the series.
Oh, 100%. Also, Ziffer MVP for the lobby, it seems like. The most score, also got those 2 shots, 2 goals, and a save, but also Velociraptors didn't really need or have a chance to get a save whenever those 2 goals were coming through, and the only 2 shots we saw as well. So 100% as far as shooting capability out of Ziffer. They know when to take their moment and run away with it, and that's exactly what we saw for this 2 goals. It's just they were a bit too spread out. One at the beginning, one at the end, not much in between.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do think the scoreline is a little bit misleading. We did see 2 pretty close chances from Trippy where they ended up just jumping into that ball and it soared a little high of the crossbar. But I mean, if those 2 solid chances were just on target, I think those are clean goals, and it would have been 4 goals in total for 3 Rocketeers. We might be in overtime right now.
True.
Fortunately, that's not how the cookie crumbled. We are now headed into game 2, and they're now clawing from behind. They might be a little spent after that first game that ended up getting canceled. You know, the stamina is getting low. But I mean, you just gotta bear through that. That's part of tournament play.
Well, as we get the motions going for this series, it seems like the players are used to the way things go in these tournaments. They join the game, you know, right after the next one. They got everything sorted out for the kickoff. And speaking of the kickoff, it almost goes in the favor of the Velociraptors, but no. It seems like a star is coming out and making sure that they're putting their hands up and saying, hey, whoa, girl. That's what we saw happen there. Chris Pratt just out of nowhere. But it seems like that's what the post was happening at that point in time. 4:40 on the clock, though. There was such an opportunity for the Velociraptors to sink their teeth into the net. Just what's not going to be that time.
still maintaining offense though. Acceleron nearly centering that ball. Oh my goodness, that pinch from the corner nearly finding its way into the net. Dracona now stealing boost and rotating out. That leaves Acceleron to go in, maybe to get a center here. Chaos on the goal line, and Dracona just walks it on in.
What a shot by Dracona. Acceleron trying their best to keep this going forward. And somehow, even after getting battered and bruised, they were able to come out the other side and get that victory for their teammate Dracona, able to get the shot on the net and wait for their time to strike perfectly for them to get that goal. Third one of the series, apart from, the ones in that practice match we talked about before. 4 minutes already left on the clock, the first minute gone, and it seems like this will be a different story compared to the first one. Velociraptors just make sure they don't overcommit, which cost them those 2 goals before.
There has been a number of times in this game, whether it's off the kickoff or just off of a weird challenge or a 50-50, where this ball just goes soaring high in the air and you can see the entire server grind to a halt because those aerials are just so difficult, and Ziffer unable to get control of this ball. They're trying to dribble it, trying to get control of it, but unfortunately just a couple bad touches centers the ball in front of their own net, and Toffee Cat is not ready to make a save and get the clear. So unfortunately, bit of an unnecessary goal going in, and it's now a 2-goal advantage for Velociraptors with 3 minutes and 30 left on the clock.
The Velociraptors are to be feared. They have a very scary prehistoric being as their name, and Dracona just roaring right in front of the net, making sure that anyone who's going to get in her way would be frozen in fear, and that's exactly what we saw happen for that goal to go in. Another chance here. There goes Dracona. There's the hat trick. So you were right in your assessment. Maybe not in the previous game, but in this one for sure.
I meant game 2. Game 2. I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Fantastic aerial, by the way. Yeah, well, I mean, of course. A phenomenal aerial. I mean, especially at this rank, the speed at which they hit the ball. I mean, it is so much easier to watch it than it is to actually do it. I mean, Rocket League is deceivingly difficult, especially when it comes to the aerial game.
It's crazy to think about too, as we were talking about earlier, when it comes to the early games of Rocket League with bronze and silvers. No one was going for aerials. They didn't even know that was a thing when it first came out. So being able to see an aerial at this level of play is nice, and also just indicative of how the game has evolved over time and what people are used to seeing online when they look at footage of Rocket League. Be like, hey, maybe if I try this and this, and then practice some of the training maps that are out there, I can also do this too and get better with your mechanics. And eventually it just comes down to practice at that point. But 2:12 on the clock, 3-goal differential, very similar to that practice game as I spoke of. Really, we need to see Ziffer, the one who was the MVP for the 3 Rocketeers before, come online. Only 50 score to their name, but not much apart from that.
Oh, nearly a chance there. Dracona went just chasing a demolition on the goaltender, but unfortunately, Acceleron had no boost to take the shot. But just seeing that game plan develop is a great sign for this team. Just the idea of playing for your teammates. It is completely overlooked in a lot of the lower ranked games, because a lot of players, even going into Diamond, when they have the ball, they try and do the best thing possible for themselves, and usually setting up a ball for your teammate isn't really thought of. I mean, it is a very difficult. Oh my goodness, the touches, it's just bouncing around. I had no idea that goal was developing, and yet an empty net just presented itself.
Seemed like it came out of nowhere, as you were mentioning, and Hollow Dude almost faked out their own teammate as Dracona went flying by. She was expecting maybe an easier shot to take, but either way, nice to see them getting into the air and then falling up as best as they can. This time, Dracona is going to bide her time defensively, pick up that corner boost, and make it difficult for their opponents to maintain their possession on offense. Trippy has looked solid in the previous game, trying their best to see what they can do to set their teammates up for success. As we talked about before, that is very key to getting the victory at this level of competition. But 4 seconds left on the clock now. Not really enough time, I feel like, to come back, especially with a 5th goal. This one from Hollow Dude.
Yeah, this game is just about over and all but the clock. Hollow Dude with a pretty difficult angle, just sneaking that past the post. That is near unsavable, especially without anyone on the goal line in the right position to keep that one out. Now, Hollow Dude, unfortunately missing the ball, but grabbing the boost, arguably the more important thing on the field. Always take boost over ball.
Every time. No, don't listen to us. Oh, man.
I'm just trying to get my... Oh, no! Oh, rushing back to defense is Hollow Dude. Unfortunately, the ball just bounced right in front of them, and they weren't able to steer out of the way. I mean, I guess that's one for the 3 Rocketeers.
Gotta say calculated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. Well, it'll be pretty interesting to see if we see maybe Brazil happen in the beginners section, and if Dracona's able to put this through, it's possible, but no.
It's
not to fall up the wall. Hollow Dude might get their own hat trick before the end of the series. No, it's not going to happen. Still up in the air. Dracona tried to keep it up as long as possible, but that is all she wrote for that series. The Velociraptors win 2-0, and again, the record stays. We are not having a 3rd game on the broadcast up to this point. Maybe in our next matchup. The Elite Series is next. We got Please Go Easy on Us versus the Dogs, both from Quebec. It's going to be a great one there too. But also, this was a great one to see just the beginner stages of a Rocket League journey for these players. And hopefully one day, if they keep with it, we might see their names in the RLCS or in the elite stages of these competitions.
I'm excited for that. And honestly, I was pleasantly surprised by the level of play we saw. I mean, mind you, a lot of whiffs, a lot of unfortunate double commits, but that's to be expected. I saw some good fundamentals, and again, demoing opponents when your teammate is on a dribble heading towards the net, that is playing with intent. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
It's all good. Playing with intention. You know, we got to give Trevor a moment. He's choked up by how much he feels for the teams that are out there starting their journey. It's making me tear up a little bit here as well. But we're going to be taking our next break here as we get into our 3rd match, our final elite match of the night. 2nd one to go there. Please Go Easy on Us versus the Dogs. We'll be right back with some more Canadian Rocket League action. Welcome back, everyone, to the TELUS Esports Series 2. I'm Vodable. We got Trevor, or Dude with the Nose, in the chat yet again. Well, also in the booth here as well. But we have our second Elite Series of the night. It is Go Easy on Us versus the Dogs that are facing off against each other. Both of these teams from Quebec, excuse me. And also a pretty interesting fact too on Please Go Easy on Us, I believe. Official Thanos has been working as a salesperson for 2 years at TELUS. So, hey, you can work at TELUS, but also participate in the TELUS Esports Series 2. It's fun for the whole family.
True. Now, speaking of twos, both these teams, there's a whole lot of twos going on in the stat sheet. Please Go Easy on Us, 3-2. The Dogs, 2-3. Goal differential for both these teams, +2 apiece. However, sorry, I misread my stat sheet. That is a -2 for the Dogs, who are 2-3 in their series. So,
I got
not ideal. Want to turn that into a plus? Maybe you could do that this series when you're going up against Please Go Easy. Bit of an underdog going into this, but I mean, the stats are so close. It is really, I mean, nothing that you can extrapolate too far from. I mean, this could be either a very close series, or it could be a bit like the first Elite Series and the first series we saw today, where it was just complete domination. I mean, the team play was just on another level, the individual mechanics on another level, and that's because in the Elite division, it is SSL 2 Champ 1, big spread up at the top, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. You know, teamwork makes the dream work. As long as the three of you are playing in tandem, you can overcome some individual performances that the other team might have.
Exactly. And hopefully we see some great individual performances from both of these teams. Before we get into the game real quick, though, got to give a big shout out to our prizing sponsor of GameCon Canada. And also, I forgot, we did this last 2 weeks, Trevor. We need a healthy gaming tip for people to stay physically or mentally healthy while playing. I feel like if things are getting a little bit too intense for you in the text chat and game, it's okay to turn that off for just a little bit of time. You know, don't need to see the smack talk. You don't need to communicate with people that are out there. Sometimes you just need to cleanse the chat as much as you can from you know, the naysayers that are out there, and get your confidence back. And that's what I like to do sometimes, because people ask me to analyze this all the time because I got a CRL analyst tag, and it's kind of sad. It's okay.
It's all good to you, man. I mean, to add on to that, I do think that's something that's great about Rocket League as an online game. You know, you go into any sort of FPS or other team-based game, it is so reliant on voice comms and text chat, whereas with Rocket League, I mean, as long as you're in a rotation, you don't really need to say all that much. You can disable chat, cut out all the toxicity.
There you go.
And you're not really sacrificing your chances of winning. So, I mean, that really is a great tip, and it's not a detriment in Rocket League.
Yeah. So there we go. A healthy mentality-wise gaming tip. Also, I feel like everyone will understand this tip too. If you are losing, I'd say more than 5 games in a row, take a break. That's all I gotta say. You're not gonna win that next one. You're not gonna win that next one. I've been there. Okay, you got to take a break just for your sake
one more.
and your
Just one
MMR.
more.
No, not one more. But we do have 2 more tonight, but 1 more here for the Elite League itself. Let's get into this matchup, Trevor. Go Easy on Us versus the Dogs. It's going to be a great one between these two Quebec teams. We'll see which one of them comes out on top, but maybe it is going to be official Thanos. I misspoke. They are on the Dogs instead of Go Easy on Us. So maybe they will use their TELUS mindset from the sales force to move forward and take on the competition with confidence.
Could be it. Both teams now in the lobby. The countdown is starting. 5 minutes on the clock. I'm excited. Ooh, official Thanos just winning that kickoff cleanly. And they're following it up. Now RP waiting behind, taking control, going for a dribble into the corner. They're looking for the center. It's almost in front of the net, but 2 defenders there make it a very hard follow-up. Thanos not getting the aerial, but it could be on net. It is. Oh my goodness, faking out the entire server, going up for that aerial. Unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately in hindsight, they don't connect on that ball at all, and the entire defense bit on that touch that never came.
All I gotta say is maybe they would have been able to connect if they had TELUS Optic. And that's all I gotta say on that one. But we do see a great connection from the defense of the Dogs as they get that one away from the box. Knight, unfortunately, not able to get a connection themselves, and try Zako or Zach Zero doing their best to keep this one moving forward the entire time. These are the mechanics you expect to see at this level of competition.
Yeah, nice little light touch off the ceiling allows them to get the follow-up touch when the ball is on its way down, and it completely catches the defense off guard. Oh my goodness, what a save. The shot's a little light, but the redirect, excuse me, what incredible placement.
Wow, just need to rewatch that one for just a moment. Great setup, just bounces off the hood of their car. They don't even need to do anything. They just were a tool piece for their teammate to set that up for the goal, just there to get the lead on the side of Please Go Easy on Us, who I feel like need to go a little bit easier on their opponents after those 2 goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is just fantastic teamwork. Player who tipped it in, I mean, they're just throwing up the bumper saying, hey, play this off me, it's going in. And it was just impeccable placement. However, the Dogs not happy. They're almost finding a goal there. The players just getting a little too aggressive and a little too close to the ball, so they weren't able to get a follow-up on that last touch. RP with a light touch out into the midfield. Goes free for another touch from RP, who turns away for boost, letting off the gas. I'd like to see a challenge there, even if they are on low boost. Now Knight's up in the air. Light little touch towards the goalie, and that is knocked aside cleanly. Try Zach into the corner. Where an aerial bounces it past one, but not past the second. This ball just going back and forth. It seems like both teams have really slowed down the offense since that last goal we've seen.
Makes sense to see that happen too. I'm noticing that both these teams probably around the same rank as well. We're seeing a Season 8 tournament winner from one of the teams on Go Easy on Us, but official Thanos is not going easy on them at all. This is the Infinity War, not the end game at this point in time, and this is all about Thanos getting both the goals for the Dogs.
Fantastic challenge from Thanos, spotting that the defender is not challenging from the direction of the net, so that ball is able to pinch off of them and kind of redirect towards the net. That's why it's so important that when you're challenging a ball, you're being very aware of where that ball is likely to ricochet towards. And unfortunately, it ricocheted towards Go Easy on Us's own net.
Ooh, okay, Thanos. I mean, Hattie showing up for TELUS with a hat trick. This is just crazy to see. A good setup by Knight off the backboard, undefended, and Zikoku, I believe that is, trying to get the stop out themselves as best as possible, but it was not good enough to get in the way of the A train, as we saw them going straight into the back of the net. They have an assist to their name, but not much defensively. It seems like that's been a struggle from Go Easy on Us. That might be exactly what the Dogs need to take advantage of, for them to hold on to this lead or even extend it.
Thanos is looking dominant right now. Big saves on defense, big challenges in the midfield, and of course the hat trick already. RP getting demoed. Can this go on net? Zikoku takes control of the dribble and just puts it on target to tie things up.
So apparently Zikoku is also mixed grains. Looking that up right now. A type of rice. But regardless, they have everything necessary, all the ingredients for them to get that goal, make up for their shortcomings on defense. Now every single member of Go Easy on Us has a goal to their name, but Thanos is the one that is soloing everyone on Go Easy on Us from the Dogs. Well, maybe not soloing. We've seen an assist from Knight and also from RP, so got to give them the credit where it is due. The defense is where everything is going to be determined, and RP has no one to worry about off of that double tap.
Yeah, RP heard you calling him out, saying, hey, you don't have any goals, step it up. He puts this off the backboard and in. Incredibly fast follow-up touch. The goaltender had a fair bit of trouble reading that bounce off the backboard.
This is great. We're seeing some back and forth between these two teams with a lot of goals. Again, I feel like it's give or take, if it's either a very defensively minded team that's not really the greatest at scoring goals but might get some counterattacks, or it's goals, goals, goals. And what we're seeing now is goals, goals, goals. We've had 7 goals up to this point in time. This is probably, I think this is the most we've seen in a single game out of any team today on the broadcast. During week 3, RP looking for their second, but no, right off the post and out.
Nearly finding an 8th goal. Now, I don't want to speak too soon, Vaudable, but with how back and forth this is going, we might see more than a game 2. I don't want to jinx anything here, man. But it bodes well so far.
Definitely is. But unfortunately for Thanos, that did not bode well for them. They found their Marvel Universe version of Kryptonite, and it did not work out exactly how they intended. So that was the one possibility. That goal did not go in. Instead, it goes the other direction. And oh, so close off the back, but off the post again, and still not going into the net. 40 seconds to go, and that should have been at least 1 or 2 goals. There we go.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Wipe the slate clean. No need to tilt. You got the goal. Tied things up with 40 seconds left. I cannot believe that went off the post and out initially. Just a ridiculous series of bounces, but things are tied up now. Might see an overtime here, but with how many goals have been scored in this series, I would not be surprised to see a couple more in the final 30 seconds.
Definitely can happen between both of these teams. Right now looking in the favor, though, of Go Easy on Us, especially with nobody there, but the counterattack here from Knight should have held on to it. Gave it up when they had a straightaway, but no, it was a fake out. They put it to the side. It was set up by the defender, and they get the goal. 5-4, 18 seconds.
Oh, Zakoku had so much trouble reading that was bouncing out. They were just desperate to get back and make a save. They were unable to accurately see where that ball was going to bounce out to, and unfortunately for them, they end up flying right by the ball once again, nearly setting up their teammate. Could tie things up here. 10 seconds left off the backboard. The shot coming through. It's in. Oh my goodness, what is going on?
Goals. Like I said, goals, goals, goals galore is what is happening between these two teams. Great setups, a good just check of the goalie that we saw from Trizak, making sure that that defender was not in any position to get the save and prevent this tie game from happening. Might not be tied for too long, though. Looking in the favor of Go Easy on Us. Might not even get an OT. Zakoku is the one to come alive with 1 second remaining. If the kickoff does not go favorably, that will be the game going in the favor of Go Easy on Us.
I could just feel it. I was like, there's no way this game's going to overtime. There's too many goals. The defense, non-existent so far, which is fine. I'm happy about that. I love seeing goals. This is incredibly exciting. The ball's still up in the air. In possession is the Dogs, but unfortunately the fake, leaving that ball in the middle of nowhere. That is gonna be game 1 in favor of Go Easy on Us. What did I just witness?
A goal-scoring palooza is what we just witnessed, and Go Easy on Us, 3 more shots total compared to their opponents. That was insanity. I mean, right from the get-go, we saw the goal from Thanos, and it was only up from there as far as the goals were concerned, especially from Go Easy on Us. They had, I felt like, the better mechanics and better style, but again, the defense struggling for both of these teams, specifically Go Easy on Us. Only a single save to their name out of all the pressure that we saw from the Dogs. Whereas the Dogs, RP, 3 saves to their name, 1 for Thanos, and Knight still doing their best as the playmaker, 2 assists to their name and a goal. Everyone getting involved in scoring goals. They're having a good time, but it might not be a long time, because if Please Go Easy on Us, which is the full name, get the victory in this next game, we still will be uneventful when it comes to getting a game 3 in these best of 3s. There's a chance, Trevor. There's a chance, especially with how close that was.
I'm worried I jinxed it, because I mean, I feel like the game 1 buff, the confidence buff, might be a little too powerful here, especially in such a heavy hitting game where it's going back and forth and back and forth. When you're excuse me, peaking on offense. No. Oh gosh. It is so hard to come back from that deficit.
What a opportunity just given to the attacker on that play. Nobody on the box, nobody able to make the rotation in at all either. Zakoku with the great setup. RP tried to get there in time, but also bumped the defender away from rotating back to the box. So there was no chance for them to take possession of the ball. As I say, though, RP, every time someone gets scored on, they're like, hey, I got the ball next go around, and they score themselves.
Great control here on this dribble. As soon as the challenger jumped and committed, they just popped that one up and over. Now, I wouldn't expect that to go in ordinarily, but stuff happens in Rocket League that you can't predict. You take those and you run with it. Now it's gonna be on Go Easy on us to get it back. You're nearly doing it. Is Zakoku. That ball going off the post. Trizak up in the air again, beat cleanly. RP sailing a pass through the dunk from official Thanos is monstrous.
Calling up representatives that are out there and saying, hey, you got to make sure that you are ready for this goal to go in. And that's exactly what we saw happen there. There was no answer from them, left on the answering machine instead, and they have to go back to the kickoff, and hopefully they can recover from there as they are down yet again. But we've seen it happen every single time that there has been a lead in this series, especially after that first game. It's not going to last for long, but maybe long enough that they could get a second goal behind it. Oh, so close.
Nearly going in. The save's just coming through at the right moment. Knight throwing it off the back while RP's up. That's off the post. Zakoku with that clear, but then another dunk. What is going on? Get this ball to safety, please. I'm begging you, go easy on us.
Oh,
Knight
man.
now with a shot. It's just a relentless onslaught. Zakoku with the dribble, getting the pass one, reversing now, gets the pass a second. This is madness, Vaudable.
This is insanity, and it's just going to keep repeating itself every single time we see an opportunity. And then it goes by the wayside. The defense held by Smear Pixels, and that's just going to be decimated yet again by Thanos from the top.
Official Thanos has been stepping up this entire series. Trizak nearly getting that touch off the back wall. They need to make sure they are staying behind that. Even if they don't get it clear, just make sure your car is in front of that ball, and Official Thanos cannot find a path to the net. Unfortunately, down in a 2-goal deficit. Go easy on us. They've made some work out of this now. 3 minutes left on the clock. Knight with a clear. Zakoku waiting under the ball, but they end up conceding it to Trizak, and this ball just going back and forth right now. Thanos once more trying to attack.
Might be our first ever third game in
say
the
it.
series. I don't want to say it, but we're getting close to it. At least the halfway point of game 2 is almost done and dusted. Speaking of dusted, that defender is out of the way, and this is the best initiative we've seen so far from the Dogs.
This is fantastic. A great touch from RP right off the ceiling, and a clean read, just putting that into the back of the net. The demolition making sure that nobody was home. For now, a 3-goal advantage, nearly half the game gone. It is going to be some tough work here now from Go Easy on us, but a great catch there. Almost leads to an opportunity. Knight now up in the air. A bit premature of an aerial, but they managed to get a follow-up. Stealing some boost is Knight and rotating out, and a weak clear coming through allows Official Thanos to try and grab that ball, but a couple of whiffs come through, and Trizak gets dunked once more. This ball is pinned in the blue end. Oh,
So close.
What?
There's a chance. There's a chance, Thanos. Oh, no.
Still
It's gonna
chances.
go the other direction. Not where they wanted. Trizak saving the day defensively for their team. But really, just a mishap for the other side. A Knight to change that into a goal. All the other direction. Made sure that they had all the boost to the tank. No chance from that last defender either. Zakoku wishes they had turned a little bit sooner. Instead, they are turning up to their own funeral on the defensive end.
that was ice cold from Knight. The fake challenge coming through, and they did not bite at all. They just kept that ball on the hood and walked it into the back of the net. I thought a flick was going to happen for sure. Thanos back in their own end with a full tank of boost, but a bit of awkwardness in their positioning. Nearly leads to a chance and a massive clear from RP, leading to maybe another goal. Official Thanos just squeaking that by the goaltender.
That is another hat trick for Thanos. 2 back-to-back hat tricks this series. What a way to come back in game number 2. And I feel like at this point, I can't say it. We are going to get a game 3. There is no coming back from 6-1 with the way that we have seen things go down so far. But again, there is time, so we got to give them that, and they are going to have to use it wisely because there is not enough chances in this entire series, I feel like, for them to pull this out of thin air.
Oh, yeah. There's very little chance. Most you can do now if you go easy on us is try and get your groove back and look forward to game 3. Don't fixate on the mistakes you made this game, or rather don't beat yourself up over them, because the best thing you can do for yourself now is recognize the mistakes you are making and shake it off. Just make sure you don't do it again and play better in game 3. That was so close
And so clean. Seemed like it would have been a clean shave as well if that did not go the exact direction it did, but instead it nicked it on the side of the post, and they're going to have to go back for another pass again. TriZac hasn't really been able to do much. Only a single shot to their name compared to the previous game where they had 2 goals, 3 assists, and 4 shots. TriZac might be the difference maker they need in that next game if they are able to make up for the poor performance in game 2.
Yeah, they're on the struggle bus right now. They do get a follow-up touch on that after being bounced off the back wall. Couple of awkward touches. I mean, time is just not on their side. There is no chance to even get a goal now at this point. 0 seconds on the clock, 6-1 scoreline. A dominant performance from the Dogs. That is the last thing I expected coming into game 2.
With how close it was. You know what? We should have expected this. I talked about this before. Every time there is a close series in game 1, game 2 is a blowout. Every time. This time it went the other direction, though, and we didn't quite expect that.
True.
But we do see the Dogs come out on top, led by RP yet again. I mean, RP did so well for them in the previous game, too. Had the majority of the shots, all the saves for them almost, an assist and a goal. And we see a similar story here as well. RP seems to be the glue for this roster. And we'll see if that's enough for game number 3. Our first one, yes, in week 3 of the TELUS Esports Series 2. It's going to be a good one. I can't wait to see what these two teams bring out to our first broadcast game 3 for TELUS Esports Series 2.
Yeah, I mean, I am excited. In game 1, I think we were looking at official Thanos, who had a hat trick, I believe, and we were kind of thinking that they're the only one doing anything. They really got to step it up, or not step it up, but the rest of the team has to step it up. And then in game 2, it really came together as a team effort. Mind you, Thanos is kind of still reprising their role as the goal scorer with a hat trick, but it was the whole team working in unison, setting each other up, and that is what gave you that 6-1 scoreline. That is just an unreasonable gap.
Oh, yeah. TriZac, really, all eyes are on you for you to come out on top as best as you can for this team as far as the goal scoring capabilities are concerned. Zikoku did the best that they could with a lot of the setups and bumps and demos and led to that first goal that we did see from Mick. But even then, it did not prove to be enough for them to get anything after that first goal in the game. It's just crazy to see 6 back-to-back goals is what we witnessed from the Dogs in game number 2. So it's not over until it is over, especially if that first goal goes the other direction. I talked about TriZac, comes in on top this time.
Yeah, and great discipline from TriZac. I mean, Zikoku has an empty net, but TriZac making sure to follow the play. You know, it's not a goal until it's in the back of the net, so they keep moving forward. And I don't know if that was a pass or a bit of a missed shot, but either way, they were there to secure the goal and put that in for an early goal in the first 30 seconds.
The biggest question mark, I feel like, after that first goal is, can they get another? they weren't able to get the first goal in the first game of the series, and maybe that worked in their favor, playing from behind in that fashion and having to pull out whatever they could, all the stops to get their first goal, which only happened a mere 13 seconds later in game number 1. Now they're looking for number 2 as best they can, because they can't rest on their laurels for a moment, because they know that's not going to be where they're comfortable. That's where their opponents are comfortable, when their opponents are just waiting for them to get the ball right past them. We've seen it happen time and time again, especially with official Thanos leading the charge there yet again. Knight this time, RP's behind them, 3-on-1. There's no chance for the save because they just had no idea where to go.
Good luck if you're the goaltender. You got 3 people chasing you down. Air dribble bump the boot. I mean, you're not getting out of that unscathed. That is near impossible save to ask for. Now 1-1, 3 minutes 30 on the clock. Things are tied back up. RP with a great challenge, throwing it over to Knight. That is going to be another one on the board. Oh, fantastic passing.
Okay. Based on what we are seeing now from the Dogs, I feel like game 1 was a warm-up. I got to call it out at this point. Just on the consistency alone that we are seeing, the passing plays, the confidence, everything coming together for the Dogs in this game alone. Go easy on us. Well, they have to say even more than just please, because right now they might have been going a little bit easy on their opponents in game 2, but official Thanos and company are not going easy on them here.
This is brutal so far. Another great touch by Knight, just making it so much more difficult for the defense to get a clear. Not every touch has to be a shot on net, and Knight's touch there, it wasn't all that threatening. All it did was beat the goalie, who committed so much to their touch that it left an open net for Thanos. Now RP back up on the sidewall, trying to get another touch, but they're low on boost. Knight once more going for a challenge, frees up that ball as it gets slammed to the other side of the field. A lot of back and forth right now, but official Thanos playing patient, not biting on any touch prematurely. RP just playing patient, and a couple odd challenges there. Photo could walk it in. No, what a phenomenal challenge to keep that to the post.
So close there for Mick, but not enough for them to taste the glory that is scoring a goal. They had it in the first game. They had it at the first get-go from game number 2, but not much after that. They're really looking to see where they can come online, as we saw Zach get one as well. And as I mentioned that, Mick is able to come online this time. And I have to look at the breakdown of this, because it looked like it wasn't going to be them scoring this goal, at least from the angle I was watching. But they just got the follow-up, and nobody could stop them.
Thanos just expecting a shot on net, so they end up creeping out a little too far off the goal line, and that gives just enough of an opening for Mick Photo to bounce that off the back wall and then get their own follow-up in one clean aerial.
Right past the halfway point of our third and final game. Again, this is the best 3 in the Elite Division of the TELUS Esports Series 2. Both these teams trying to make sure that they come out with that victory, because it is oh so crucial. Only the top 16 out of each of those divisions make it into the playoffs, and this time Zach is going to try and make their playoff journey even easier, tying it up 3-3.
Such a tough save to make from RP. I mean, it is just a one-on-one. I mean, maybe you could try a fake challenge or just slow down the defender, but ultimately, in a 1v1 like that, it's a bit of a 50-50 game. You just have to kind of get a read on what your opponent's doing, and that is so difficult to ask for when there's no real history between these two players to get a read on each other.
Oh no, that's gotta hurt. Looking at the breakdown of this one too, Zakoku centered it. Zach could have carried it away, but just side flipped instead. Could not get a connection on the ball and didn't really have the right recovery necessary for them to get that out of the clutches of RP, who just saw the opportunity right in front of them. They took their time, got the small boost pads, and got the goal afterwards. So now got the lead back in the favor of the Dogs. We'll have to see how this goes with 1:30 on the clock. It's not over yet. RP trying to make it over, though. If they got that 2-goal lead, that could be all she wrote.
Knight up in the air with a good challenge by Trizak. RP centering it, but official Thanos with only a 1-goal lead. They're playing it safe, waiting way back in their own end. Trizak up in the air, going for a bit of an air dribble.
Ooh, oh no!
Oh no! Oh, Zakoku, that is a brutal, unfortunate event. RP makes it back to make a save. Trizak missing. Zakoku with a touch off the post. Photo has to be up, but they're a little too late. Zakoku with another touch gets blocked aside. Trizak. Ooh, pass two. Good. Oh, nearly getting the challenge out into the center. Photos up. Might put a shot on net. It's there, but so is the goaltender. RP faking one past the second. Could he get it past Photo?
Oh no!
No. So low boost.
Oh. So close yet so far to getting that goal, but all the time ticking down all the while as well, and making it that much more difficult for a comeback to be possible by Please Go Easy on Us in the blue. Zakoku can't find their footing. They're slipping and sliding around the pitch itself and not entirely sure where to keep things going forward for their team. Trizak doing everything they can. One final chance might be all they need to tie this up and send us to OT, but it's not going to happen. It's dropping down to the ground, and the Dogs are here to stay and play as they win. And I guess technically a reverse sweep, 2-1 in a stellar fashion. Loses the first game by a single goal, 11 goals total across both teams, getting a 6-1 victory and then a close 4-3, all thanks to RP yet again at the end of the day, getting that cheeky turn in when the defending team did not expect it. Wow, what a victory.
That, I mean, to put it mildly, was completely unpredictable. It was going one way, back the other way. Goal here, goal there. Just no... I'd almost hesitate to say no semblance of consistency, but it was consistently going back and forth. I think game two was the exception there. It was just ridiculous offense from both teams. Defense thrown to the wayside. Absolute chaos. I loved what I saw out of that series.
That was a great series itself. And we're going to be taking a very quick break. Then after that, we have our final series of the day. That is going to be, I believe, from the Intermediate League, the Alberta Crushers versus Samstellerbour from QC. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back with that final series of week 3 for the TELUS Esports Series 2. One final series to go for today for week 3 of the TELUS Esports Series 2. I'm Vinnable. We got Drew with the nose, or Trevor, and we have the Alberta Crushers versus Samstellerbour. I believe that's how you say it. It's a very interesting name that is out there. But regardless, it's going to be some great competition of the intermediate category. I also got to give a big shout out to one of our presenting sponsors, which is Nanoleaf. See those there, some great panels that help smarten up your home that you can customize, put in different configurations, and make your room look very nice. So also got to give a big shout out to the TELUS Esports Series crew that are making this all a possibility, but also because they are giving away 2 Xbox Series X consoles to TELUS Esports Series participants. And all you have to do is complete a brief survey below. So definitely recommend it. Checking that out in the chat. Going to the survey, we have English and French options for you there as well. And we all appreciate your feedback here at TELUS. So if you could give us some feedback on making the TELUS Esports Series 2 better, we'll be drawing the winners of those 2 Xbox Series S consoles during the live Rocket League finals on December 17th and the 18th. Which will be on the same Twitch channel, Northern Arena. So definitely, if you are participating, recommend it filling that out. With that out of the way, Trevor, final series. We've seen the Alberta Crushers before, I believe, and they did pretty decent for themselves. We'll see how they can do here.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to get things started as soon as the players are ready. Excuse me. I do believe they have a match after this, so they're going to want to make this a quick 2-0 and get started into the next one. But just for a little bit of background info, Alberta Crushers, they're 4-0 in their pool. Samstellerbour, 3-1. Both these teams doing pretty solid, and they have a +7 and +5 game differential respectively. Wow. Both these teams are it's going to be this game rather is going to be a bit of a fireworks show.
It really is, and I'm excited to see exactly how it goes down between these 2 teams. We saw Phyrexia specifically on the side of the Alberta Crushers doing pretty well for themselves before for this roster. Shallow Killer 2 was also saying, like, all the good Rocket League players that are young have Killer in their name somewhere. We got First Killer, we got Scrub Killer, we have a bunch of different ones that are out there at some point in time. But I mean, looking at this, I believe we are in the game itself. We can see us because we wanted to show you our faces for a little bit of time. But you know, 4:30 on the clock right now. Not much has happened. We just wanted to talk about the action and give you a little tease before we actually got into the game itself. But you didn't miss anything. It's okay. We are in the game this go around, and goes to show how close the competition is between these 2 teams.
Very, very close. A minute into this game now, and not too much in the way of sustained offense either way. Big clear by Mechanic. Good give a chance here. Fortunate bounce going high above the goal, and a big aerial by Sam Schwartzy. Now Barask with a clear out to the center. Oh, Phyrexia nearly finding a pass, but unfortunately Mechanic just not ready to receive it.
I'm loving the Scarab coming out from Barask as well, and I believe the team name is like a combination of their names. So we got Sam, I'm assuming Ghost is Stel, and then Boar is Barask. So you know, it's nice to have like different combinations to make a team name if you don't know exactly what you want to go for there, and it's pretty solid. But we'll see if their defense is solid enough, and it's proven to be a bit lacking as the Mechanic found the cracks and sealed them up with a goal.
And Barask turning and challenging. Unfortunately, you can kind of see when they turned to challenge, they came from the near post, and that means when that shot happens, the entire far post is undefended. If you're gonna challenge the ball like that, which is a little bold to just jump at that without anyone behind you, you gotta make sure you're centered in the net, or at least covering a little bit more and giving your teammates behind you a little more restricted of an area to expect the shot to land in.
Woo. It's a bit restricted of a landing zone for them to try and put a shot onto the net, and they were having rough winds. They were going towards that opportunity as right in front of them, shot aside by all 3 defenders. No chance for them to come out with a tying goal just yet. Barask doing their best to center it in front of the box, but even then there's no one in position whatsoever. They get it past the Mechanic yet again, able to showcase their skill, setting it up for Phyrexia. It seemed like it had gone by the wayside, but no, it went to the right side for their teammate, was just falling right behind. No way the defenders were going to stop that one.
A fantastic decision from Mechanic to not force that ball on target. Instead, they take it outside of the net, pinch it into the middle, and then give an even better chance to their teammate rather than trying to force it in on their own. Now a big clear here into the corner. Ghost trying to center it, but Phyrexia is ready and able to clear that. Gets a demo as well on the way out, and that lets them tip this off the back wall. Shot might come through. No. Playing patiently after getting a 2-goal lead are the Alberta Crushers. They don't want to concede another and make this a 1-goal game.
It makes sense that they are trying to take their time with this too. We talked about it before that they have a match lined up right after this one. So if you score more goals, just based on the replays themselves and the reset for the kickoffs, it takes more time for the series and the games to finish. So get that 2-goal lead, you feel comfortable.
Oh, no.
Well, not comfortable enough, it feels like, because Ghost 8566 is going to be the star shooter like their title as they get this right past both defenders. Shadow Killer, not the greatest rotation. They had their eye on the wall instead of the ball.
Yeah, unfortunately, Shadow Killer, they recognized that they were a little too far off the goal line, but just a little too late. Once that shot comes through, it is way too late to try and reorient your car and reposition yourself in net. The most you can do is, if you're out that far, just dive at the ball and try and cut down that angle.
Tough spot to find yourself in defensively, but that's what happens when you take your time and want to run down the clock as much as possible. When you least expect it, a goal comes out from your opponents. That's exactly what we witnessed there. But hopefully history won't repeat itself if you are an Alberta Crusher fan, so that we can keep this lead going. It's only a small margin at that. Might be all they need to get past the finish line, get game one done and dusted with that victory being in their favor. Still have less than a minute to go for that to be a possibility. They have the record in their favor as far as winning these games and the series, as you talked about before. 7-game differential compared to their peers, and also 4-0 currently. They haven't lost a series yet, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen soon unless something changes now for Samstellerbour with 30 seconds remaining on the clock.
All they need is one massive clear, because right now Alberta Crushers are getting pretty closely grouped onto the ball, especially on offense. If you just let them center the ball and get a clear from your own goal, you can just boom that downfield and it'll be past at least 2 of the defenders on Alberta Crushers. Now with time winding down, hard to get the ideal setup. That one is past one Ghost, hitting it to the corner, but as the clock hits 0 and this ball is in possession of Alberta Crusher. Oh no, he kept it up. Mechanic, why'd you do that?
Oh, so
there
close, but there it goes. It drops down Alberta Crushers. They stop it from going to an OT and extending the length of game number 1. But what a way for that to finish out. Alberta Crushers looking pretty solid, apart from, the mishap that we saw there by Shadow Killer defensively. Didn't really have to make many saves because the only shot that went through from Samstellerbour was a goal. So if they can get more shots like we saw happen in the Elite Series before, well, they'll be doing a lot better for themselves there. We'll see what happens in game number 2. If it is going to be a quick finish here for the Alberta Crushers so they can quickly wrap things up and move on to that next series, or if it is going to be a lengthy one going to our third game series of these broadcasts up to this point.
Be interesting to see. I do like what I was seeing from Phyrexia from the Alberta Crushers. I think when we saw them previously on stream, they were also the standout player in that series. However, I do feel like Shadow Killer is perhaps a little bit nervous today, because particularly on the goal that went in where they were a little too far out and then turned back, that's kind of a sign of hesitation and not really being confident in how you're playing. And I want to see them kind of fix that up in game 2 here as the players are joining in the lobby and getting it started. I just want to see them clear that up and play with a little more confidence. Even if you make a mistake, you just don't want to give your opponents free real estate over the field, over the ball, and over the boost.
And that's what we have seen time and time again when it comes to the boost and the ball in favor of the Alberta Crushers, is it being free real estate, and they are ready to take advantage of that every day of the week, especially in Canada nowadays. But 10 seconds, excuse me, not 50 seconds, gone off the clock already, and it seems like they are coming out the gate swinging, but Sam Schwartzy is going to be thwartsy on the defensive line, taking that aside and making sure there's no chance for their goal to be got into the first 30 seconds by their opponents.
Yeah, uncharacteristic whiff coming through from both players on the field. A couple awkward bounces happening in the corner of Samstellerbour. Mechanic not getting a shot there. They opt to flip away from that ball as Shadow Killer puts a bit of a light touch towards the net. Phyrexia up high on the sidewall, throws that off the backboard, and no shot coming through. Schwartzy gets a solid clear and 100 boost in the midfield.
Man, we saw Barras just go flying with the Scarab after getting a bump on one of the midfield players from the side of the Alberta Crushers, and they were the ones who were crushed that time, sent to the scrapyard, and no chance for them to come back into that play. And that's exactly what we need to witness from the side of Samstellerbour, because they need to get more physical, take these players out of the possession game, out of the physical game that we've been witnessing up to this point. And that's exactly what we see here. Sam Schwartzy got the save to stop the first initiative from their opponents and got the first goal this time.
Schwartzy just not given any respect. Shadow Killer on that ball, not expecting a challenge to come through, or maybe they had the ball cam on for a little too long and they did not see the player diving at them from in front. Now Mechanic with a whiff on the sidewall, and Shadow Killer dives for it to get a big touch towards the back wall. Phyrexia biding their time, waiting for this ball to free itself up, but it doesn't happen. Ghost about to get a big clear towards the end of Alberta Crushers.
Very close game so far already. The first 2 minutes gone, and it seems like there hasn't been many opportunities for the Alberta Crushers, even though they've had one shot for Mechanic and one shot for Phyrexia at the beginning of the game. It was really only the first 30 seconds that we saw the possession work out in the favor of the Alberta Crushers, and even then, that we've only seen a single shot from Samstellerbour. Sam Schwartzy got that one goal. That's all that it feels like this team needs. They have one initiative, but one wrong move is what leads to it being tied 1-1.
Just a tiny double commit near the midfield, and Phyrexia barely beating out Barras leaves Sam Schwartzy completely out of position. Now that empty net goal ties things up. Half of the game has dwindled away. Phyrexia diving at this ball. Another double commit coming through. Mechanic putting that wide of the net. Shadow Killer might redeem themselves here. They put it past one. Get it. Oh, almost getting the second touch, but they get the ball. And Mechanic again putting that one wide. Need to step up that shooting accuracy if you want to grab a lead here in this final 2 minutes.
There we go.
It counts, I guess.
Every time we talk about a player saying, hey, they need to step up, or hey, they need to improve here, that's exactly what they do. And it's so crazy how good of analysts we are. I just got to give ourselves a pat on the back for that. But no, have to give a pat on Mechanic's back that time, because they are the ones who are putting their team in their backpack as they're going to work on offense with that second goal. Took them some time after the first goal of the series to get one, but now we see it happen here at the crucial moment, right past the halfway point of game 2.
Oh no. My goodness.
Oh, that hurts.
That's tragic. Ghost trying to get it clear here, but it just takes an awkward bounce and they aren't able to read that ball cascading down towards them, and as a result, it just floats down in front of their own net and it's put right in. Now a 3-1 game. Phyrexia with 2 goals off of that unfortunate own goal. Panic with another uncharacteristic whiff. This game is really it really has Phyrexia as kind of the solid rock or the foundation of the team.
True. Making sure. It's kind of funny because the rock was the foundation as well. But nonetheless, as far as Rocket League is concerned, it just feels like this team of Samstellerbour is falling apart at the seams. They are panicking to get these stops. Somehow, we're able to send that one aside, and they don't know what their game plan is except going for the ball and hoping for the best. And sometimes that works out if you're not playing against the best in the Intermediate League with the 4-0 lead as far as series are concerned. But 3-1 in this game, Alberta Crushers looking to make it 5-0 with their series and basically guarantee a spot in those playoffs if they can do that.
And I mean, although they're 1-3 right now with under a minute left, hopes are probably quite low. I gotta give some respect for the Scarab pick. I mean, I have not seen that in a long time. It is so fun to see that little ball fly around the field. I mean, if you want to score the ball, you gotta be the ball, and that's what the Scarab embodies.
It really does, but unfortunately they need to also be defenders, and right now it's not looking like that is what we are witnessing. Sam Schwartzy looked great at the beginning of the game, stopped an amazing shot that should have gone in and gotten the lead much earlier for this Alberta Crushers offense, but that time did not work out in their favor. They were a little overzealous going for the follow-up after getting the touch and not noticing that nobody was covering their bases at the box behind them. And as I say that again, nobody's there. They got to rotate back again. Sam Schwartzy is in position, but they don't even need it at this point in time. 10 seconds, no chance for Samstellerbour to come back, and it will be the Alberta Crushers getting another goal, potentially more in the next 5 seconds.
It might not be in Alberta Crushers' favor to score more. They have more than secured the win, and as we mentioned, they've got another game after this. I'm sure they are eager to get this last 5 seconds over with and get started in their next best of 3.
They're just trying to rack up those goals as much as possible. 5-1 is the final scoreline in that game there, but we saw a pretty interesting finish in the previous one between the Alberta Crushers and Samstellerbour. Nonetheless, the Alberta Crushers stay undefeated. Samstellerbour, you put up a valiant fight, just was not enough to take on the Titans that were the Alberta Crushers in the Intermediate League. That's all she wrote for us, though, as far as this broadcast goes. Trevor, it's been a great time to see some of the Elite League competition and the Beginner League competition, and then end it off with some, Intermediate League right in the middle, near the Advanced as well, that we'll probably see next week. But speaking of next week is our fourth and final week of the regular league competition. Then after that following weekend, the 17th and the 18th, we have all the action for the 4 divisions: Elite, Advanced, Intermediate, and also Beginner. All the prizes that are out there. We'll talk more about the format and everything next time. But this has been some great competition up to this point, Trevor.
Oh, it has been fantastic. And I mean, just being able to see the Elite games today, even the beginner games were surprisingly good and very entertaining. But I mean, the pace of play of the Elite games, I mean, there is just nothing like high level Rocket League. It is so fast, so exciting. The teamwork is just, it's just unbelievable. You can only find this in Rocket League. I love it.
You can also only find this at the TELUS Esports Series 2. So again, we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place, for the final week of competition for the TELUS Esports Series 2. Got to give also one final shout out to our lovely sponsors that are making this all a possibility. TELUS, of course, Nanoleaf, one of our presenting sponsors, HyperX and GameCon Canada, providing a lot of the prizing, because again, the $30,000 is in prizing. We'll talk about those prizes that the teams will win based on their specific divisions next week. So you want to tune into the competition, our final week of regular competition, and then the playoffs. It's going to be a great one. We'll see you there.